All right, how we doing tonight, everybody? This is the voice of Josh Johnson. We are going to get started momentarily. So if you could just share this on Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, appreciate you doing that as well. And we'll get things cranked up momentarily. All right. Welcome aboard, friends, family, everyone. We're glad to have you tonight. It's 9:39 on a Tuesday evening, and we are tracking the risk of some strong to severe thunderstorms around the state. Now, this will all be Wednesday into Wednesday night and Thursday morning. There is no risk of severe weather as of this moment. So Tuesday night, the rest of it looks fine. It's dry for the most part, but as we get into Wednesday and Wednesday night, we may deal with some more rough weather. We'll dive into the data here. Let me show you what it all looks like, how it all plays out here. So we'll make this large if we can here. We'll pump this up a little bit. There we go. Okay, so I think you can see all of that. We'll leave it enough to where we can see the time. And I'll temporarily remove the Brian Jewelry and Vance Law Firm logos just so that we can all see the data here, and then we'll get back into that momentarily. So a couple of things you've got to know here just straight out of the gate. This is not going to be a simple scenario. This is going to be a type of pattern where we are going to deal with multiple clusters of showers and thunderstorms. So it's not as easy as just telling you this will come through at 9 in the morning or 2 in the afternoon. There's about a 24-hour window here between roughly 6 a.m. Wednesday and 6 a.m. Thursday where we could deal with multiple waves of intense showers and thunderstorms, some of which could produce some very large hail, some of which could produce a lot of flooding rains, tons of rain in this. And yes, there is a non-zero tornado risk in this, which is a little unusual for a June system, but we'll get to that momentarily. So the night ahead looks fine. This is what it looks like. Here's midnight. We're on cruise control. There's nothing going on. But then tomorrow morning, we will see an initial burst of these showers and storms crank up early in the morning, mainly north of Montgomery. See them here. Now, initially, these storms are north of the front. So what does that mean? Well, when we look at the environment here, this is not really a tornado environment. It's not even really a severe weather environment. So these would just be sort of your garden variety thunderstorms, heavy rain, thunder, lightning. Okay, so then the day comes along here, and that front begins to ease up north a little bit. And you'll notice just multiple clusters of showers and storms throughout the day. As the day wears on, the risk of hail is going to increase. The risk of damaging wind gusts will increase. The risk of isolated flooding will increase. One important point to make here, this is not going to be an all-day rain. There are going to be 6-hour stretches within this where it is sunny outside. Birds are chirping, people are singing, and it's nice. It's wonderful. But then another one of these clusters of storms will come along and we'll kind of start the process over. You see it here. And again, when you look at this, understand no model is going to be able to resolve all of these very small scale details that I'm sharing with you. So the pictures might not match the words, but the message here is tomorrow morning through afternoon, there are these clusters of storms. The risk is mainly hail, damaging wind gusts, and isolated flooding. Then the sun goes down, and back to the west, look what happens here. Big, mean, ugly clusters of these individual cells begin to form. These are supercells. Now, within these, there is a tornado risk that will evolve initially out in central and western Mississippi, and then that will dive towards the southeast and arrive here probably around sunset or just after. Now, as that comes through, that's going to be a more substantial producer of hail and damaging wind, and potentially some tornadoes in this as well. So we're talking now 8, 9, 10, 11, midnight, Wednesday night and into Thursday morning. That kicks through, and then there's just leftover more storms into Thursday morning and even Thursday afternoon. It's pretty wet is the moral of the story. And then Thursday afternoon, it all gets pushed south, and by Thursday evening, everything winds down. But this Thursday batch you're looking at, this is valid right here at 11 a.m. Thursday. By that point in time, the environment's a lot different. There's not really a massive amount of wind shear. The atmosphere's worked over a little bit. You've just coming out of the nighttime, so you don't have a lot of daytime heating. So moral of the story, I think the severe weather risk sort of starts to wind down once you get to mid-morning Thursday. We'll keep an eye on it, and it could extend out, but that's how we see it right now. So if anyone has any questions, this would be a good time to file those in. If you're asking what time will it be at my city, my town, we've already addressed that. Due to the multiple waves of storms, there's really no way to know when it will be at your town, your city, or how bad it will be at your town, your city. We can just sort of broad brush this and speak in what we know, which is there will be multiple clusters of storms at times Wednesday and Wednesday night. Some of those are going to produce some isolated pockets of large hail, some damaging wind gusts, some flash flooding, and yes, potentially a tornado or two could get in that mix as well. So that is sort of the lay of the land here. The other thing, again, we've got to talk about is this flash flooding threat. The raw model data here that we've been looking at suggesting some pretty big numbers. Let me share those with you quickly here. This is the high-res rapid refresh, and there's some bullseyes on here of 8 inches of rain in the next 48 hours, 6 inches of rain, 5 inches of rain. So for most of us, I think it's 2 to 4 inches of rain, but there will be these isolated bullseyes where we could get half a foot of rain in 3 hours. That will cause flash flooding. So if you live in a flood-prone spot, if you live in a spot where it floods, and I'm not talking river flooding. This will not be river flooding. This would be your creeks, your low-lying pastures, your areas in cities that don't drain very well, those sorts of places. That's where we could have some problems with flash flooding. So there you go. All right, let's dive into the questions here quickly. And we've a little logistical note. We've got the 10 o'clock news coming up in about 15 minutes. So we'll carry this as long as we can, and then the discussion will continue over on the big screen. Brooke Anderson asked, anything severe overnight tonight? No, ma'am. Sleep well tonight. There could be some storms early tomorrow morning, but they should not be severe. Caitlin asked, how high is the tornado risk for Elmore County? I would put it in the low range. It's not zero, but it is low, and that answer applies to the entire southern half of the state. There is a low but not zero risk of tornadoes. Cody asked, what kind of tornadoes do we expect? I think these would, in our area, these would primarily be the QLCS embedded tornadoes. So you're probably talking, comma head tornadoes embedded within these clusters of storms. The supercell tornadoes would probably be back to the western Mississippi, but until this thing forms, we really don't know. But that's my guess, is you'd be looking at one or two of these comma head QLCS type tornadoes. Let's see, are these cells going to be long track tornadoes? Jay, I doubt it. No, the environment doesn't really favor that. Never say never, but I don't see that happening. Kelly asked, can you please dive deeper into the tornado risk? Storm Prediction Center says 5%, but that doesn't normally seem to be considered low end or isolated. It kind of does. Let me show you. I'll show you this. She's talking about the Storm Prediction Center and their tornado risk categories, and they use a probability is what they go with on this, and that probability is that they have several different numbers that they throw out there. So let's see if I can get this. Pardon my progress here, but I'm trying to get this in a big format where everyone will be able to see it before I show it to you. There it is. So this is the Storm Prediction Center's sort of chart on tornadoes. Okay, so the column up there, see where it says TORN? And I'll zoom in a little more. And this is kind of a rudimentary graph, but it's what they make. So see where it says TORN. The number goes all the way up to 60%. So 5% is their second to lowest number for a tornado probability. So I hope that is what you mean. That was Kelly that asked that question, Kelly Townley. That is on the low end of the spectrum. I'll zoom this out a little bit so you can see. It goes from 2% to 60%. So 5% way up here, that's near the bottom of the spectrum. That's why we use those words. Is it high risk for Covington County? No, this risk is in the medium level. For hail, damaging wind, the tornado risk is in the low range. What are the severe weather risks for late tomorrow afternoon? Large hail, damaging wind, isolated flooding. Can't rule out tornadoes. I think those are a little more likely tomorrow night. Stuart Jones has a good question. I saw where NWS Birmingham in their discussion said hail the size of baseballs could be possible. Do you see this as realistic? Sure, I do. You have to understand, though, that would be isolated. Not everyone is going to have baseball-size hail. But in a few spots, could you have a storm strong enough to produce baseball-size hail? Yes, you could. But that would be the exception rather than the rule. Jacques, the Birmingham Weather Service Facebook site said severe storms tonight. Maybe it's a typo. No, I think it's just a difference of opinion, quite frankly. I do not see any appreciable risk of severe weather overnight tonight. Now, starting again early tomorrow morning, say 5, 6 in the morning, I think that could start to come online a little bit. But I don't see a big severe weather risk overnight tonight. So, again, we'll see. But that's how I've got it read. What's the weather looking like for Alexander City, Alabama? It's from Tori. Tori, hey, nice to see you. Alex City, you're dry tonight. Storms pop up early tomorrow morning. A few of those could be strong to severe. Then there will be these clusters of storms. So it storms, then it's sunny and dry for hours at a time. Then it storms again, and then it's sunny and dry for hours at a time. And then boom, it storms again. So that's how this is going to work. Not just in Alex City, but everywhere. That's just the nature of this setup is that. Love this. Thanks for breaking everything down from us. From Jessica. Jessica, happy to help. Thank you, ma'am. What about Covington County? Everything we've said applies for Covington County. Clusters of storms tomorrow into tomorrow night. Hail, wind, flooding, isolated tornadoes, all concerned. What about Troy in the morning? I think initially you're dry, but as the day wears on, the rain chance goes up. So probably dry early, 4, 5, 6 a.m., but by 9, 10, 11, that rain chance cranks up in Troy. Alrighty, it's now 9 minutes in front of 10 o'clock. I'm going to start to wind this thing down and land the plane here. If you are just joining us, we have been talking quite a bit about the risk of strong to severe thunderstorms around the state tomorrow. There will be multiple clusters of storms starting as early as sunrise tomorrow, lasting through Thursday morning. It will not rain and storm that entire time. There will be long stretches of dry, sunny weather. Then there will be clusters of storms that come through. They'll last an hour or two, then it will be dry for a while, over and over and over. The most intense course here could produce golf ball to baseball size hail, 70 mile per hour wind gust, isolated tornadoes, and flash flooding. There's no ability to tell you exactly how this will play out in your specific community because there will be clusters of storms scattered around the state at any given time. Few more questions, and the what about questions, I don't have the answers for those. The what about Troy, what about Auburn, what about Laverne? Everything I've said applies to every city in the southern half of Alabama. Clusters of storms, Wednesday morning to Thursday morning. Won't rain that entire time. When it does, you can get your money's worth. Will you be going live again when it gets more severe? Yes, we will. We'll be going live on, we're live on basically everything. The most reliable thing you can have, though, is our weather app. When we go into live continuous tornado coverage, our digital team usually puts that on the Facebook page, on the WSFA Facebook page, but our weather app is, it is every time we go on the air, for severe weather coverage, it's live on the app every time. You don't have to go looking for it. You don't have to search different Facebook pages. It's right there on the app for the world to see. So Facebook can hide stuff. Facebook, frankly, is trash as far as the algorithm goes. Get the app. It's way better. Josh, a lot of times storms work over an atmosphere. Will the day storms help lessen the severe threat for tomorrow night? No. Margaret, in this case, it will not. The better dynamics arrive after dark. And this time of year, it's so warm, even in the nighttime, you've still got enough juice to kind of keep things going. So I actually expect the worst of this to probably happen Wednesday night. Are you safe in a mobile home, Sabrina? Yes, until you have a tornado watch or warning issued. Now, if you have a tornado warning issue, you need to get out. Go to the nearest site-built structure you can find, maybe a neighbor's house, family member, friend, local business, community storm shelter. The key is plan it ahead of time. Don't wait until a tornado warning to try to figure out where you would go. Plan it. Wake up tomorrow morning. Google search your county's emergency management agency. Call them. Say, I'm in a mobile home. Here's my address. Where's the closest storm shelter? And that'll be your best bet there. Stuart, when will this train of daily storms end? It's starting to seem repetitive. Stuart, tell me about it. I agree. It should end in the next week or so. I think by the end of the weekend and then the next week we'll break the pattern. Kelly says, so there shouldn't be a tornado issue first thing in the morning. Kelly, I don't expect that. I think that the main tornado risk is later. Frankly, though, a system in June that has a tornado risk with it is a really unusual setup. Unusual setups, we don't see them as much. So expect surprises. That could be the surprise. So have those multiple reliable ways of getting weather warnings in place, and then you don't have to worry about it. Whether it's morning, noon, or night, you'll be ready. Alrighty, 10 o'clock news starts in 6 minutes. I'm going to let you guys go. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. I'll do another Facebook Live briefing tomorrow here on the Josh Johnson page on Facebook and on YouTube. I would encourage you to watch those. Keep an eye on the weather app as well. We'll be publishing updates to the weather app all day tomorrow. And you can catch Tyler Seabury's forecast tomorrow starting at 4:30 in the morning. So you can watch a lot of different ways of getting this information. So Allison would you advise canceling midweek services? I would wait and see. You can make that decision probably tomorrow afternoon and go from there. I wouldn't make that decision yet. There's really not a lot of ability or skill in predicting that this far out where those storms will be. So check the radar tomorrow, 3, 4, 5 in the afternoon, and you can make a call from there. So everyone have a wonderful evening. Head over to the TV right now. We're going to hop on WSFA 12 News. Our 10 o'clock news is coming up. Weather is the lead story. So I'll be sharing a lot of new data, some new data that you didn't see in this Facebook Live either, by the way. I'll be sharing it with you on the TV side. Again, that's coming up in about 5 minutes. So